All right, we're back. I'm not sure if this is going to be part 2 or part 1. If it's part 1, you're watching the disassembly video. If it's part 2, I've made a separate reassembly video. I'm not sure at this point, but where I left off was the gears. So we found a broken gear when we were taking it apart. I actually glued it back together, and it looks pretty good, but I didn't think it was going to hold. I mean, it's really glued together. It may be okay, but I didn't want to take that chance, and the reason why is because if this gear breaks another gear, then I'm in trouble. You'll see I have a bunch of different gears here. All these small gears are exactly the same. That's the good news. And even better news is on eBay, this is the same seller that I found the interior for the Big Bear. If you've watched that video, I found the complete assembly. If you recall, this assembly had a broken piece, which once I put it together, you won't notice. It won't be a big deal, this section here. But anyway, I found a complete assembly for $14, and they're in Ohio, which is where I am, and it was only a couple bucks to ship it. So pretty amazing, and the reason why is it solves all my problems thus far. It's the complete front diff assembly as well as 3 more gears. So I had 1 broken gear. Now I'm going to end up with 2 extra gears because all these gears are the same, which is awesome. I thought maybe they were going to be different, and I was going to try just to find these gears, but again, 2 birds with 1 stone. It very rarely works out that way for me, but this is awesome. Complete new front diff housing, new gears. It's all here. And we had 1 gear that's really yellow. Don't know why. That may have had some grease or something on there, and we'll just select 2 random. All these parts have been cleaned. Everything has been cleaned, actually. The cases for the transmission have been cleaned. Everything's cleaned, ready to go. So that's the good news thus far, which is great news overall. And we're going to go ahead and start reassembling. We've got one of our halves here. I didn't take everything apart because you'll notice these do have bearings and they're fine. There's no reason to really worry about those. And I did clean them, and I've lubed them, and I actually might put a little bit more lube on them. We're going to go overboard with the grease. Fiddlesticks. We're going to put even more grease on here in a moment. And you can have too much grease. It can gum up if you let it sit for years. This is the Super Lube. It's kind of the equivalent of the Tamiya grease that you get with their kits, which is really good. Make sure we've got everything on it that we need. Just got to put another gear on here and more grease. If you haven't already figured it out, parts are very hard to get for these old kits. Let's look at the, I'm looking at my computer off to the side here to make sure that I've got everything going the correct way. Throw a splash of oil on those bearings. So for now, we're going to tighten this up a little bit. Okay, we've got this section. Now we need to put this into here. When my bearings popped out. Okay, our screws are back in. Feels really good. We can wipe all of the grease off of it because I went overboard, but we do not want this coming apart. So that's one thing done. We're going to use this new front diff. We do have to get some pieces off the old, so I've got a C-clip or an E-clip, whatever you want to call it. Got our gear that goes in there. We are back. We had a little snafu. The battery died in the GoPro. Luckily it beeps nice and loud, so The only thing I had done was I put the other end in. I haven't put the screws in yet. I'm going to use the new screws. We're actually going to take these out of the bag. I don't want to get them too tight. There's only 2 that go on the side. I believe that's why that old one was cracked. I think somebody cranked down on it too hard. It's funny, some of these old kits, it just looks like somebody was in their garage and found something that would work. Which is probably what happened. Like, oh, we can use this. You can see how thin the walls of this are. You can see, maybe on camera, the screws popping through there, or the color of the screws. Right, I have installed a servo into the mount, and the reason why I've done so early is because the chain has to actually go around that, and it does have to go a specific way. And I was going to kind of carry on with that because I have to put that section of the build has to go together with the frame. But unfortunately, the servo saver that it came with is not complete, so I need to order a servo saver. I think a Kembro aftermarket will work just fine, so I've kind of got a pause there, so I definitely need that part. So the next thing I'm going to work on are the shocks. I've already added oil and cleaned up the front shock. There's no spring that goes on the front one. It's very, very unique. And I've got the rear ones apart, and these have already been cleaned. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the shafts and just chucking them in the drill because they're a little rough. They're not pitted or anything, just a little rough, and I'm just using some really fine pads. Next thing we'll put on is the spacer. And then there is a washer. We're not going to assemble them just yet because I've got some that's associated. We used to use this on our shocks back in the day. I actually still had a tube of it. I don't know if they still make it. It's called green slime, and you don't have to use very much of it. Use some of that. Next thing is we'll put our bleed screws. I've never bled shocks this way. I don't know if it really works that well. You typically don't need a bleed screw. You just open up the end cap and kind of let the air out that way. I did it with the first one and I didn't, it went okay. We're going to use some 45 weight. This is Racer's Edge or something. Yeah, Racer's Edge. And then we'll fill it up to the lower ring and just go slowly. This will ensure that you get the least amount of air bubbles. If you just shoot it in there, you're going to have a bunch of air bubbles. And we could slowly push it. And there is going to be some oil come out. The unfortunate thing about these shocks is these pistons, they don't have any holes in them. So they're just a solid piston. We've got all of our suspension, and you can kind of make sure they both feel the same. We're going to start out by testing out the motor. This appears to be the original motor. I have not tested it yet. We're going to use our voltage tester here. Essentially, I can adjust the voltage and amperage and test motors with this. It's really awesome. It's not just for RC. I've used it for things on dirt bikes, for the car. I'll put an Amazon link in the description. I think I paid like 30 bucks for this thing. It's cheap. It looks very cheap, but it works really well, and it's kind of a lifesaver. So we're going to start out by, we're not even going to clean it first. We're going to run it. If you've watched some of the other videos, this is kind of what we do. We run it. You can also dunk these in water as you're running them. Actually, that's a really good way to break them in and get optimal performance out of them. And it does work. Sounds a little So we're gonna shoot some cleaner in there. Here's how it's sped up. We're using BW100, but you can use anything. We're just getting all the dirt. That's 9 bolts. look at the commentator, see how that looks. Not too bad. This is a good way to revive motors as well. We're gonna throw a little bit of oil, see how much that quieted that up. I'll throw it at this end as well. Makes it even quieter. That sounds really healthy. It's real steady now. When we first turned this on, I know you couldn't hear it or see it, but it kind of jolted. It was not real smooth. So we know we got a good motor. We don't need to buy another motor, although I have a bunch of can motors anyway, the Tamiya can motors. Japan, yeah, this definitely appears to be the correct motor for this car. All right, we're back. I believe I left off with the servo, the steering servo situation. So essentially the original steering servo saver was not complete. Doesn't really surprise me, but yeah, so I was in a standstill because you can't just use any servo saver with this. So this is the original. I don't have the guts required for that. So I went on Amazon. I actually ordered a Kimbrough medium and a Kimbrough small, and the medium was in stock. The small was going to take like a week to get here. So I got the medium first. Here it is. I thought it may work. I had to, you could see a lot of it's gone, and I got it to work. I got it to fit in there. All the arms fit in there, and it's still a little bit too big. It doesn't hit anything, but it kind of sticks out too far, so there's a lot of binding. So luckily the small finally came in, and I believe it's going to be the correct size. Now I have cut off the bottom row, but now my next issue are these holes are a little bit too small. They were fine on the medium, but they're too small on the small. So I'm gonna drill out these two bottom holes. Also greased the pockets on all these. Kind of already did that off camera. We're gonna connect these in. And you can see this is kind of the situation since I did not take everything fully apart. Part of the difficulty is on myself. Imagine that. So far so good. When I was pushing these in with the other servo saver, the other Kimbrough, the arms were pushing back out because of the bind that was put on them. All right, we've got our front end loosely assembled. Now it's time to reinstall all the nuts and bolts. That way it doesn't fly apart on me. We're gonna pull it all the way to the front because these have to be adjusted equally. So these screws, each side of this pulls in this diff. Now if you have it kind of crooked, that's not a good thing. So I'm screwing it in all the way. Now we can actually put on the right hand side. And I actually kept a couple of the screws in here. We need to figure out where we're going to run this servo wire. I guess we'll do that in a little bit. Probably should have removed this tray because we are going to be using something different than the stock speed controller. We don't have a whole lot of screws left, believe it or not. We do have to put these hooks in. These are for, which I don't know why you don't do this sooner. I'm going by the directions. These go in now. So this little red thing goes here, and then you put a screw and a washer on the outside. And we've got them installed kind of high. We're going to install these kind of high up in the chassis, and the reason why is the higher they are, the more, so this one doesn't have anything on it, but this one, the higher they are, the less resistance. And I don't want them, I'm actually going to put them even a little higher. I can see where they were before. They were pretty high. Okay, luckily we kept the screws in here. We need to put our gear on. And that goes back here. We're going to loosen up the tensioner all the way, actually. The gear is finally on. Now we've got to find the flat spot, tighten it. Now you've got to leave a little gap. This is about a 0.5 millimeter gap in between the case and the gear. Okay. Now you can see how loose this chain is. You can see how it's on the gears. That's how loose it is. So what we got to do now is to tighten up these screws up front, which both of them have fallen out because I loosened them. I'm going to grease these inserts. Doesn't call for that in the manual, but I think it's something we should do. There is a bearing, so it's not a huge deal, but we can slide these where they need to go. We're going to move on to the rear heatsink slash wing mount. Fairly easy to install. This also holds part of this further sandwiches the case sides. Starting to come together, folks. Next thing we will put on are our side pieces here. This one definitely goes right here. Bumper is only held on by 2 screws, but it actually slides into these slots on the front. It's a pretty unique design there. I like that. We could put our shocks on now. Instructions have the bleed screw facing down. I think we're just going to follow what the instructions say. You don't need to go crazy tightening these because this looks like a very weak point of the car. And we want to leave a little bit of play between the screw and the shock. I want these to be able to travel. I'm going to tighten all the way down first. Back it off a little bit. That should be good. We do need to install the motor and the pinion. We're going to take this cover off. We're not going to install it just yet. We do have a little bit of adjustment. Looks like we can do that with it on. Here we're going to put the pinion. I don't even know if this is the right pinion. It's the right mesh. Looks like a 32 pitch. And we are back. So the ultrasonic cleaner did not really get the chrome off. So we're going to try something different. Not really different from the channel, but different than what we've tried so far. We've got a gallon of Super Clean. And if you've watched some of the Hot Wheels customs or restorations, I've actually used this to remove chrome from plastic. And it worked really well. So we're going to try it again. And this seems to work the best. You can get the Simple Green. It's a very similar degreaser, but it does not seem to be as effective. So we're going to use this Super Clean. We're going to use it straight, not mixed with water or anything. And again, this little tub is awesome. It's got a drain plug on the bottom. I can reuse everything. Really convenient. So if I haven't done so in the other videos, I will definitely post an Amazon link for this because it is a godsend. I don't have a sink down here in the basement, so this is very convenient for me. Just enough to cover the entire wheel. Whoa. Actually, it wouldn't hurt to leave them upside down. It doesn't really matter. But we will let this sit for about 24 hours. Quick look at the Samurai wheels. They are completely stripped. You'd have to clean up some of the glue. Now, this has been 24 hours, but I actually looked at these about 2 hours in, and they were already stripped at that point. So, took care of it really quickly. This is just leftover glue and chunks of tires. We'll get rid of that, but you can see not a stitch of chrome.